Your body isn't broken. Your signals are scrambled. Tried fasting, eating clean, pushing through hunger, but your belly is still inflamed. Your insulin's a mess, and cortisol wrecks your energy by noon. That's not willpower failure. It's metabolic misfire. There's one missing signal that flips that switch, and it starts with a single tablespoon of this fat right here, olive oil. Used the right way. Doesn't break your fast, it actually unlocks it. The right olive oil tells your body you're safe. Burn fat, heal cells, turn down the stress hormones. And stay with me, because this is the part that no biohacker or doctor is telling you, and it changes everything. Most people think that fasting is about removing all calories. Well, it's not. Fasting is about hormones, inflammation, and cellular signaling. And the right olive oil used at the right time during a fast sends a very specific biological message. Okay, everything I'm about to share, it's gonna blow your mind, and it's all backed up by human studies, human data. So number one, the right olive oil activates your fat-burning genes. Human studies show that extra virgin olive oil activates something called PPAR alpha, which is a nuclear receptor that activates the following in your body. Okay, it enhances fat burning. It helps your liver produce more ketones, which is highly anti-inflammatory. It helps your little battery packs called the mitochondria reproduce and produce more energy, so that raises your metabolism and you have more energy and you feel better. And lastly, it also lowers triglycerides in your bloodstream, which is essentially fat in your bloodstream, and it increases HDL cholesterol, which is high density lipoprotein. It's like your body's, your arteries' janitorial system to clear out plaques and proteins in your arteries. Okay, clinical trials in the Journal of Biochemistry and Lipids show diets rich in extra virgin olive oil significantly increased expression of genes involved in fat burning, especially compared to a low-fat diet or a seed oil diet. So when you take that olive oil during a fast, and I'll share with you when to take it, it amplifies the fat burning of the fast because it turns on that PPAR alpha. Think of PPAR alpha like your body's fat burning engine. When you fast, you turn the key and you start the engine. And then when you time olive oil with it, you press the accelerator. It increases fat burning without stalling your metabolism or putting the brakes on energy. Okay, the second thing that's gonna happen in your body is that the olive oil with the fast will lower insulin. Insulin is your body's only fat storage hormone. Anytime it's elevated, it signals to your metabolism, store fat, store energy. So if you're looking to burn fat, the wrong question to ask that most people are asking is, how do I lose weight? The right question to ask is, how do I lower insulin? Oh, this is exactly how you do it. A landmark human study in diabetes care found that extra virgin olive oil reduced post-meal glucose. That is the sugar spike from your foods. Less of a sugar spike means less insulin is produced. Same study showed reduced insulin secretion and increased natural GLP-1. You've heard of GLP-1 drugs. This is a natural process your body produces that increases satiety and it sensitizes the hormone insulin. And you don't have to pay $1,000 a month to inject yourself with something that may not work long term. And the crazy thing is that these results showed even when calories were matched. Okay, the translation: less insulin, less fat storage. Less insulin, more fat burning. Less insulin, more autophagy signaling. Autophagy is one of the main benefits you want to get during a fast. What if you could enhance that? You can with the right olive oil. And if you don't know what autophagy is, I want you to think of autophagy as your body's cellular cleanup process. Your body's so smart that when you're not eating food and you go into a fasted state, it ramps up autophagy. Autophagy is like Pac-Man going within your cells, looking for cells and mitochondria that are not producing energy well, that are not burning fat well, and it's starting to eat those cells, clean up those cells, and create healthier cells. It's kind of like your refrigerator where you have all these groceries with an expiration date. What would happen if you let all the groceries expire and you just left them there and put fresh groceries? That's going to be a toxic environment. That's going to be a diseased environment. Guess what? Your human body has cells and proteins and mitochondria that have expiration dates on them. Autophagy is the process of getting rid of those expired groceries. Fasting already turns that on. Olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, enhances that autophagy. I'm going to talk more about it later. So no, olive oil does not break a fast. It does not break autophagy. It enhances it, even though there's calories, because it lowers insulin. That is the key. What breaks a fast is when you raise glucose and insulin. Extra virgin olive oil from the right type does not do that. Okay, the third thing that's gonna happen here when you have olive oil during the fast is that you're gonna lower cortisol. Cortisol is not your enemy, just like insulin is not your enemy, but chronically elevated levels of cortisol is. You may or may have not heard of the cortisol belly. It's a real thing. It turns out there are 2 to 3 times more receptor sites for the hormone cortisol in your visceral fat, the fat around your organs, than other areas of your body. So when cortisol is chronically elevated, it starts to pack fat around your organs, your precious organs. It leads to belly fat. It leads to weight loss resistance. So the name of the game here, lower cortisol, relieve that pressure off your organs, burn fat. Well, these studies on olive oil, human studies, show that the right olive oil that's polyphenol rich reduces inflammatory cytokines. These are blood markers like IL-6 and TNF alpha. It also improves vagal tone, which is going to help lower cortisol, and it regulates the communication between your brain and your adrenal glands. A controlled human trial in nutrients, 2019 study showed that high polyphenol olive oil significantly reduced stress-related biomarkers compared to low polyphenol oil. Here's why this matters. Morning cortisol between 6 and 8 a.m. determines belly fat storage, insulin sensitivity, and cravings later in the day. The right olive oil that's polyphenol rich signals nutrient safety, not starvation. Now let's take a deep dive into autophagy and olive oil and why this is important for fat loss and metabolic health. Let's just verify and clear up a really important big myth in the fasting space. Autophagy does not require 0 calories. Fasting does not require 0 calories. Autophagy requires low insulin and low inflammation. You see, the right olive oil contains 2 really important polyphenols, oleuropein and oleocanthols. Human and animal crossover studies show that olive oil with these polyphenols activate autophagy through a marker called AMPK. You don't really need to know that marker. Just know that it's kind of like the prerequisite to autophagy. It also reduces growth, which is mTOR, and it improves mitochondrial turnover, the healthier production of mitochondria, the battery packs. You see, oleocanthal inhibits COX-1 and COX-2. What does that mean? Well, this is similar to taking like ibuprofen. Lowers inflammation and pain within your body and your brain, but without the gut damage and side effects of ibuprofen. Human evidence backs this up. A randomized crossover trial in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed high polyphenol olive oil reduced inflammatory gene expressions within hours, not weeks. So less inflammation, more autophagy efficiency. Now, the key thing that I keep saying here is high polyphenol olive oil. Unfortunately, the majority of the olive oil out there is not high polyphenols. So you're gonna wanna stay with this lesson so I can show you the right way to shop for olive oil. Before I get there, I wanna share why I believe olive oil fasting could be even better than water fasting. Okay, water-only fasting, which I love, for some people can cause cortisol spikes, especially when you do too much, thyroid suppression when you do too much, and even lean tissue loss if you go into too much fasting too soon as a sugar burner. But olive oil fasting could preserve this from happening. It could regulate cortisol, help give your thyroid nutrients, and keep you in a fat-burning state while having some healthy calories. This is fasting smarter, not harder. So let me give you your daily olive oil intermittent fasting protocol. This is going to be your everyday metabolic protocol. Step 1, in the morning, on an empty stomach, take 1 tablespoon of a high quality, high polyphenol rich extra virgin olive oil. You can add lemon juice, a squeeze of half a lemon, or a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar if you choose. That may enhance your results, and no, those don't break a fast either. So what happens when you do this? It tells your liver, which is such an important organ for fat loss and detox, to produce bile to break down fat. This is like a detergent for fat. It helps insulin lower. It helps lower cortisol. It increases fat burn, increases ketone production, and it increases autophagy. You know, one of the coolest things that I've learned with my years of research, I've been in this space for now going on 18 years, is that you could actually create autophagy, that cellular cleanup process within the brain. High quality olive oil helps you do that. Would you like to get autophagy in the brain? Then follow what I'm teaching here. And look, this is not just hypothetical. A study in clinical nutrition on humans showed monounsaturated fats, like a high quality olive oil, taken alone, increases fat burn more than carbohydrates and protein. Makes sense. So that's your first step. Take a tablespoon of high quality olive oil. The second step is to grab a cup of high quality coffee or a cup of high quality tea, and then add another tablespoon of that high quality olive oil to it. If that tea or coffee has caffeine, you want to make sure you're waiting at least an hour and a half after waking up to have it to get the maximum benefit. This works because it prevents cortisol spiking from caffeine, the waiting an hour and a half after waking up, and the olive oil. It also extends the fasting window so you're not breaking your fast, and it improves insulin stability. This kind of mimics Mediterranean fasting patterns seen in these longevity populations. Now, here's why the quality of the olive oil matters. If you get olive oil from most of the options out there, you're not going to get the benefits and the results I'm talking about here. Look, you want olive oil that is, write this down. This is your checklist. I'm going to show you exactly how to buy the right olive oil. Number one, it should be high in polyphenols, over 300 milligrams per batch. It should be what's called an early harvest, first harvest, which means you get more antioxidants and polyphenols from early harvest versus later in the harvest. It should be cold pressed, single source, and fresh, not years old. And then it should be in a dark glass bottle, like this bottle I'm holding up here. Unfortunately, from my research, most grocery store olive oil fails to have these markers, the right way you want to buy your olive oil. So where can you find high quality olive oil? That's the question I get asked all the time. Look, that matters because the polyphenols that melt fat, enhance autophagy, lower inflammation, and reset your hormones, they start to degrade the moment the olive oil is bottled. Unfortunately, most grocery stores, their oils are sitting there for months, sometimes years. Could be old by the time you open them. And you'll taste the difference instantly. And in 30 days of following this protocol with the right olive oil, your gut, your energy, and fat burning will prove it. So when I gave you that protocol, morning and with coffee, you're simply going to grab your olive oil. I'm going to take the top off. And here's how you know if your olive oil is legit or not. I'm going to do an example right here. I'm going to pour a tablespoon, and here's what you want to do. Just take it in a spoon. And what you want is what's happening to me right now. It should burn your throat, make your tongue a little fuzzy. That signifies that this is rich in polyphenols. If your olive oil goes down smooth, that is a red flag that it is probably not a high quality olive oil. I'm not done here. I want to give you some more insights. When you simply follow this protocol, a tablespoon of olive oil in the morning, a tablespoon of olive oil an hour and a half or later after waking up with your coffee and tea, here's what my students report. Less bloating, calmer energy, lower cravings, improved digestion. And that's just in the first 24 hours, by the way. Within 7 to 14 days, a smaller waist, better insulin sensitivity, lower inflammation, clearer thinking, and faster fat loss. Now, you're going to be asking the question, okay, outside of taking a tablespoon in the morning and taking it with my coffee, can I also have it to cook my foods in? One of the biggest myths in the nutrition space is that you should never cook with olive oil because it has a low smoke point. Well, I'm here to show you something that's going to blow your mind. It is true, olive oil has what's considered a moderate smoke point. It's not a high smoke point. But studies are showing that smoke point is not the determining factor. Something else is called polar compounds. So there was a really good study done looking at 8 of the most popular oils that people use to cook with. And if you're watching on YouTube, I'm showing them to you right now. We have extra virgin olive oil, olive oil, then sunflower oil, peanut oil, coconut oil, avocado oil, grapeseed oil, rice bran oil, and canola oil. This study did 2 trials. Trial 1 gradually heated the oil to 464 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 240 degrees Celsius. Trial 2 heated each of these 8 oils and deep fried it for 6 hours at 356 degrees Fahrenheit, 180 degrees Celsius. And it looked at 2 important factors. Number 1 was oxidative stability. That is how stable the fat is. Okay, it showed that coconut oil was the most stable oil, followed by peanut oil. Then third was extra virgin olive oil. The worst was grapeseed oil and sunflower oil. But oxidative stability wasn't the bee's knees. It wasn't the overall factor here. The most important thing they looked at was something called polar compounds. The more polar compounds an oil produces after it's heated, the more inflammatory and potentially carcinogenic, which is cancer causing. Well, this study showed that the oil that produced the least amount of polar compounds, which is what you want at these different temperatures, even frying, was extra virgin olive oil. You could see the graph on the screen here for those watching on YouTube. That's because real olive oil, like the one I have here, is so rich in polyphenols that it protects it from the heat. Second place was coconut oil. Third place, avocado oil. And then the worst was grapeseed oil, canola oil, and rice bran oil. Those are the worst oils to cook with. So the answer is you can use olive oil if it's legit olive oil to cook with, but you don't want to get burned by fake olive oil, which is oxidized junk, sometimes in plastic bottles with 0 to low polyphenols. Won't drinking fat make me fat? No, that is a myth. You don't gain weight because of fat. You gain weight because of inflammation, insulin, and cortisol. Okay, high quality olive oil lowers inflammation, cortisol, and insulin. So by actually consuming the right fat, you actually burn fat. I know it's different than what some of you have been taught. How is this different than butter or MCT oil? Well, olive oil is unique because it has these specific polyphenols, the ulyrapine and the oleocanthols. The butter is great and the MCT oil is great, but it doesn't have these specific polyphenols. Can I use coconut oil instead? Coconut oil is great, but it lacks these polyphenols. What if I have gallbladder issues? Can I still follow this recommendation? Well, you may, but start with half a tablespoon initially and build your way up. Can I do this protocol every day? Yes, do it for at least 30 days and watch what it'll do for you. Will this kick me out of ketosis? No, it'll actually enhance your ketones. Do I need to do a 24 to 36 hour fast for this to work? No, follow it the way I just shared. Daily intermittent fasting alone will drive major benefits for you. But if you're choosing to do a 24-hour or 36-hour fast, let me give you a little protocol for how to do this. I'm a big fan of doing a 24-hour fast or a 36-hour fast as a metabolic reset, a plateau breaker, or just a way to just be proactive with your health. So if you choose to do a 24-hour or 36-hour fast, here's how I would recommend it with this olive oil. In the morning, have your tablespoon of high-quality fresh pressed olive oil club in your spoon. Midday, around 2 or 3 p.m., have another shot of it from your spoon. And then when you break the fast at the 24-hour mark or 36-hour mark, have another shot of a tablespoon of the olive oil. That's how I would recommend it. Does olive oil quality really matter that much? It does. Look, low quality or oxidized olive oil, a good percentage of them are sometimes cut with seed oils, and it could actually increase inflammation, make fasting harder, and it cancels out all the amazing benefits of fasting. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you on the next episode.